There's a moment that comes to us all. A moment when the silence is louder than any scream. When the weight on your chest feels heavier than the world. When the people you counted on go quiet. And the storm that rages inside you finds no shelter. You wake up and you don't feel like a warrior. You feel like a worn-out soldier in a war no one sees. Your armor is cracked. Your sword is dull. And the battlefield? It's your mind, your past, your fears, your regrets, your broken expectations. And in that moment you begin to whisper the most dangerous lie of all. I'm alone in this. But I came to tell you, you are not. You were never meant to fight this war by yourself. Because this battle is ancient. It was fought by every soul who ever tried to rise above average. By every heart that dared to dream when the world demanded silence. By every legend you admire. Every icon you revere. They too faced nights that nearly broke them. Abraham Lincoln once wrote letters he never sent. Letters of heartbreak, defeat, and unrelenting pressure. He buried his sorrow in ink so the world wouldn't see his tears. Yet he stood tall when the Union was cracking. And he held on when the whole country felt lost. Thomas Edison was told he was too slow to learn. They said he was addled. And yet he failed 10,000 times trying to create the light we now take for granted. Imagine the loneliness of 10,000 failures. The echo of 10,000 silent rooms that did not light up. And still he showed up again, and again, and again. Because he knew something most don't. Loneliness is not proof of your weakness. It's the echo of greatness and progress. You see, the path you're on, it's not crowded. It never was meant to be. You're building something most people won't even attempt. You're crafting a life forged in fire, not comfort. And that means there will be nights where the only voice left is your own. But that voice, that's the one that shapes worlds. That's the one that bends reality. It's easy to believe you're alone when you're surrounded by silence. But silence is sacred. Silence is the space where vision is born. And in that silence, if you listen close enough, you'll hear the footsteps of those who walked before you. The quiet courage of Harriet Tubman. The fierce determination of Helen Keller. The unshakable will of Nelson Mandela. The focused obsession of Steve Jobs in a dim garage. The relentless fire of Oprah Winfrey. When no one believed in her worth, they were never walking through sunshine. They were crawling through storms, dragged by doubt, haunted by past mistakes, mocked by people who didn't have the guts to try. And yet they kept moving. So don't let the weight fool you. Don't mistake silence for abandonment. Don't confuse hardship with punishment. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. Prepared for the moment when your name becomes the inspiration. Prepared for the day someone else whispers, I kept going because of you. But to get there, you must remember this. Your pain is not your prison. It's your proving ground. And I know, there are days when just getting out of bed feels like lifting a mountain. When your hands shake trying to hold your dreams together. When your smile is more of a shield than a celebration. But those are the days that count the most. Because anyone can smile when life applauds. But to rise when no one claps, that's power. That's real courage. That's the kind of fire the world can't ignore. You think you're alone in this? You're not. You are in the company of giants. Not because you've won yet, but because you refuse to surrender. And even if no one claps, even if no one understands, even if no one sees the war you're waging, you keep fighting. Because this battle isn't about proving others wrong. It's about proving to yourself that the dream is worth it. It's about standing on broken ground and saying, I still believe. It's about choosing forward when everything inside says, give up. It's about becoming the kind of person who doesn't wait for the light. They become it. You are not here by accident. You were chosen for this path, not because it's easy, but because you have the strength to rise where others collapse. And that strength, it's already inside you. Not in your muscles, not in your money, not in your achievements, but in your resilience. In the fact that you're still breathing, still showing up, still dreaming. Even when the world says be realistic, So today I want you to stop hiding your scars. They are not shame. They are evidence that you are still in the fight. The world doesn't need perfect. It needs powerful. It needs honest. It needs bold souls who are willing to admit, yes, I've been crushed, but I'm not done. Because crushed doesn't mean broken, and broken doesn't mean buried. Sometimes, broken is just the beginning of becoming unstoppable. So don't wait for rescue. Be the rescue. Don't pray for easy. Pray for endurance. Don't look for escape. Build the strength to endure. You are not alone in this battle, and this battle is not the end. It's the furnace where greatness is forged. The furnace of life doesn't destroy the strong. It defines them. It refines them. It strips away the doubt, the ego, the need for applause, until all that's left is pure, relentless will. And I know you've had days where you whispered into your pillow, why me? Why this path? Why this pain? Why now? But what if the question isn't why me? What if the real question is, why not me? Why not you to carry the burden? Why not you to break the cycle? Why not you to build the legacy no one else dared to begin? You see, life doesn't call the most prepared. It calls the most willing. And the fact that you're still listening, the fact that your spirit hasn't surrendered, that's proof enough. You are the one. Maybe you weren't handed the best cards. Maybe you were born into struggle, raised in chaos, taught to shrink, told to settle. But every great life starts the same way, in the middle of mess, in the eye of the storm, in the depth of confusion. Do you think Henry Ford was handed a blueprint? He had to fight through ridicule, bankruptcy, and bitter failure, just to move 1 inch forward. Walt Disney, fired for lacking imagination, rejected 302 times before someone said yes to Mickey Mouse. 302 doors slammed in his face, and he still knocked on the next one. You think they didn't feel alone? You think they didn't wake up with fear in their chest and doubt in their mind? But they pressed on, because vision doesn't wait for permission, and neither should you. You are carrying something sacred inside. A fire, a dream, a calling. And the world might not understand it yet, but that doesn't mean it's not real. Sometimes the people closest to you won't see what you're building until it's finished. Sometimes they'll laugh. Sometimes they'll doubt. Sometimes they'll walk away. Let them go if they must. Not out of hate, not out of bitterness, but because your mission demands clarity. It demands solitude, focus, and faith in something no one else can see but you. This is not the season for explaining. This is the season for building. And yes, it will be lonely. But loneliness is not a curse. It is a forge, a sacred place where legends are born. Because when the noise fades, when the distractions dissolve, when all that's left is you and your heartbeat, that's when you discover your power. Not borrowed power, not fake confidence, but the kind that rises from within and refuses to kneel. You don't need a crowd. You need conviction. You don't need likes. You need belief. You don't need rescue. You need responsibility. And responsibility means this. You stop waiting for someone to save you. You become your own hero. You wipe your own tears. You pick up your own pieces. You climb your own mountain. One brutal, beautiful step at a time. Because at the summit, when you look down on the road you walked, you won't remember the pain. You'll remember the rise. The world needs more risers, not reactors, not victims, not cynics hiding behind comfort, but real warriors, the kind who fight invisible battles with visible courage, the kind who build when nothing is guaranteed, who love even when it hurts, who lead without a title, who show up not because they feel strong, but because they refuse to let weakness win. That's who you are. And if you've forgotten, let this remind you, you were not born to quit. You were not built to hide. You were not shaped for silence. You were made to stand in the storm and say, I am still here. Not because it's easy, but because something inside you is louder than the chaos around you. And that's something, that still small voice that whispers, keep going. When everything else screams, stop. That voice is your power. Listen to it. Feed it. Honor it. And never ever doubt it. You are not alone in this battle. You are walking beside every soul who ever dared to rise, every dreamer who chose belief over logic, every builder who shaped the world while the world laughed. And someday someone else will feel like giving up, and they will hear your story. They will see your scars, and they will rise because you did. They will rise because of you. Because you didn't fold when life pressed down. Because you didn't run when fear knocked on the door. Because you stared down the abyss and still took another step. That step, that silent, unseen, ordinary, impossible step, is the beginning of someone else's miracle. And that is how greatness is built, not with fanfare, not with fireworks, but with footsteps in the dark, one after another, heavy, shaky, determined. You don't need to roar to be powerful. You just need to move forward when it's easier to stay still. Understand this. The path of a champion is not paved with certainty. It's carved out of chaos. The most legendary men and women in history did not walk straight lines. They fell, they failed, they fumbled, but they never vanished. They never stopped writing the story. They never handed the pen to fear, and neither should you. Write your next chapter with courage, even if your hand trembles, even if the ink is smudged with tears, even if the plot doesn't make sense right now, because right now is not forever, and pain is not prophecy. This moment doesn't define you. Your response to it does. Will you break here, or will you bend and rise? Because listen, every setback is a setup. Every delay is a decision point. Every detour is divine in disguise. But only if you choose to believe it. And belief, that's the heartbeat of this entire battle. The belief that there's more to your life than what you see. The belief that you're being called higher, even if it hurts. The belief that you matter, that your story matters, that your fight is not invisible to the universe. You were never meant to crawl forever. You were born to soar. But first, you must survive the cocoon. Do you understand that? Every eagle you've ever seen in flight spent days in a shell, struggling, alone, cramped, silent, and the only way it broke free was to fight its way out. No one could crack it for them, because if they did, that eagle would never fly. It needed the pressure. It needed the resistance. It needed the pain, because the pain built the strength. And so do you. You're in your shell right now, in your dark hour, in your unseen war, and the world may not clap for you yet. That's okay. Because you're not here for the applause. You're here for the evolution. Let the darkness shape you. Let the weight sculpt you. Let the doubt sharpen your focus. You are not being buried. You are being planted. And when the season shifts, when the sun finds your soil again, you will rise, stronger, wiser, unshakable. But for now, embrace the fire. Let it burn away the lies, that you're not enough, that it's too late, that you'll never get out. Lies. Because if you were truly finished, you wouldn't feel this fire inside. You wouldn't feel this resistance. You wouldn't still be here. But you are. And that alone is proof. There's more ahead. More for you to give. More for you to become. More for you to build. This isn't the end. This is the test. And the test always comes before the transformation. So rise. Not because you're unafraid, but because the fear has no authority over your purpose. Rise. Not because the path is clear, but because your faith is louder than your doubt. Rise. Not because someone told you to, but because you know in your soul, you were made for more than this. You were made to inspire, to heal, to create, to love deeply, to lead silently, to leave a mark so deep that time itself will whisper your name. But none of that happens if you give up here, and you won't, because now you remember. You are not alone. Even when it feels like no one sees you, someone is watching, someone is learning, someone is surviving, because you are. So don't you dare fade now. Don't you dare let this storm convince you the sun won't return. It always does. Just like you will. Us like you will. Because there's a force inside you that even you haven't met yet. A version of you that only pain can introduce. A warrior forged in fire, tempered by solitude, sharpened by loss, and crowned by persistence. You haven't met them yet, because they only show up when you refuse to quit. That version of you isn't born in victory. It's born in the trench. It's born on the 99th try. It's born when you've got nothing left but one last breath. and you give it everything you've got anyway. That's who you're becoming. And I know what you're thinking. But it's too hard. I'm tired. I've failed too much. Good. Because that's exactly where transformation begins. Tired is a sign you've been fighting. Failure is a sign you've been trying. Hardship is a sign you're still climbing. The weak are not the ones who fall. The weak are the ones who never move. You've moved. You've stretched. You've dared to dream in a world that rewards mediocrity and mocks ambition. And that alone makes you rare. But rare is not enough. Rare must become relentless. You must be willing to get back up again. When the dream has lost its shine, when the goal feels distant, when the results mock your effort, because those who only chase results will always quit before the miracle. But those who fall in love with the climb, they become legends. Don't you see? Every time you take another step, every time you choose to believe instead of break, you are not just moving forward. You are building a blueprint someone else will find when they're lost. You are leaving behind a trail of courage for someone who hasn't even started yet. Your fight isn't just about you. It never was. You're fighting for the silent ones, the scared ones, the ones who grew up without role models, the ones who were told to sit down, be quiet, stay small. You're standing for them now. You're proving that pain is not a period. It's a comma. It's not the end of the story. It's just the part where the hero is tested. And make no mistake, you are the hero. You may not wear a cape. You may not have an audience. You may cry yourself to sleep some nights. But you get up, and that's everything. Because the truth is, nobody really wins without first wondering if they'll make it. Nobody builds something timeless without being broken somewhere along the way. And nobody becomes unforgettable by playing it safe. So don't aim for safe. Aim for real. Let your struggle be sacred. Let your scars become scripture. Let your tears water the roots of something eternal. You are becoming something this world desperately needs, a soul that doesn't give up. Not when it's unfair, not when it's exhausting, not even when no one else believes. Because belief isn't something you borrow. It's something you build. And brick by brick, breath by breath, you are building something unstoppable. So today, don't rush the process. Don't curse the pressure. Don't envy someone else's path. Stand where you are and say it loud. I am still here. I am still fighting. I am still becoming. And if the world won't echo it back, good. That means you're on the right path. The path of the few. The path of the brave. The path of those who never needed permission to rise. Let this be your rebellion against mediocrity. Let this be your anthem when the doubt returns. Let this be the whisper in your soul when the silence gets too loud. You are not alone in this battle, because every time someone gets up after being knocked down, you're with them. Every time someone says one more try, you're there. Every time someone lights a fire inside, when the world goes cold, it's your flame that spreads. You are part of a great army, an invisible tribe of warriors, bound not by flags or borders, but by heart, by hunger, by hope. And that will never die. That will never die. Because the battle you're in, it's not just about survival. It's about awakening. It's about remembering who you are beneath the noise, beneath the fear, beneath the expectations they placed on your shoulders that were never meant to be yours. You are not just flesh and bones. You are fire and force. You are will and wonder. You are here for a reason, and no pain, no setback, no silence can erase that. The world tried to numb you, tried to convince you that passion was a liability, that dreaming was dangerous, that sensitivity was weakness. But you refused to go numb. You still feel, you still believe, you still burn with purpose. And that means you're alive in the truest sense. This isn't about motivation anymore. This is about movement, daily, deliberate, devoted, not grand, not loud, not perfect, just real. Get up when it doesn't make sense. Speak truth when your voice shakes. Act with love when bitterness would be easier. Keep building, even when you're the only one who sees the blueprint. You were not born to echo. You were born to awaken, and awaken you will. Each time you choose discipline over distraction, each time you choose growth over gossip, each time you silence the world long enough to hear your own soul speak, listen. There is a version of you waiting on the other side of this battle. Not a better you, a truer you. The one who doesn't apologize for their greatness. The one who doesn't shrink to fit rooms that were never built for their light. And to meet that version, you must walk through the fire. You must stop asking life to be easier and start asking yourself to be bolder. You must stop chasing comfort and start honoring the climb. No more waiting for perfect timing. There is no perfect timing. There is only now. This breath, this heartbeat, this chance to decide who you're going to become. Because life is not waiting, and neither is destiny. It's calling. Right now. And it's calling the warrior in you, not the worrier. It doesn't care how many times you've failed. It doesn't care how long you've been lost. It doesn't care who doubted you, left you, betrayed you. It only cares if you're willing to rise one more time. One more time. That's it. That's the secret nobody talks about. The real magic isn't in being the fastest, the smartest, or the strongest. It's in being the last one standing. The one who kept getting up when every reason said don't. The one who chose faith when facts looked grim. The one who didn't need the world to believe, because they believed enough for everyone. And that person is you. Right now, not someday. Not when you feel ready, now. So take the next step, no matter how small. Take it trembling if you have to. Take it tired. Take it scarred. But take it. And when your mind screams, you can't, whisper back, watch me. Because this world, it bends for the bold. It makes room for the relentless. It rises for the few who refuse to kneel. You don't need more time. You need more courage. You don't need more followers. You need more fire. You don't need more praise. You need more purpose. And purpose, real purpose, doesn't come from having an easy life. It comes from walking through hell and refusing to come out empty-handed. So go ahead. Let the world underestimate you. Let the storm rage. Let the night stretch long. You've walked through darker. You've endured worse. You've risen before. And you'll do it again. Because no matter how brutal the war becomes, there's a truth etched into your soul that nothing can erase. You are not alone in this battle. You are not alone in this battle. You carry the spirit of every fighter who came before you. You walk with the shadows of those who kept going. Not because they had less to lose, but because they had more to live for. You're not the first to cry in silence. You're not the first to doubt the journey. You're not the first to want to quit. But you will be the one who doesn't. You will be the one who plants their feet and says, "This ends with me." The generational fear, the unspoken shame, the internal war passed down like a curse. It ends with you. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to see the whole path. You just need to say yes to the next step, and then the next, and then the next. That's how you win a war this big. Not by rushing, not by perfect plans, but by relentless progress. Inch by breath, hour by hour. And listen, you will get tired. You will feel heavy. You will want to pause, scream, run, hide. But you don't have to carry it all at once. Put the mountain down and take just one stone. That's all. Carry one stone forward. Because the truth is, you are not broken. You are becoming. The fire didn't come to destroy you. It came to burn away everything that isn't you. The fear, the people-pleasing, the self-doubt, the fake identity you put on to survive in a world that never saw you clearly. Let it burn. What's real will remain. What's true will rise. And what's meant for you cannot be stolen, delayed, or denied. But you must show up for it. You must say, even if it takes longer than I hoped, I'm still coming. Even if I walk alone, I'm still moving. Even if I've lost everything before, I still believe in what's ahead. Because faith is not a feeling, it's a choice. It's choosing to see light while standing in darkness. It's choosing to love yourself When the mirror doesn't reflect the progress yet. It's choosing to speak life over your future, when your past still echoes in your ears. And yes, that choice is hard, but it's yours. They can take your time. They can take your comfort. They can take your applause, but they cannot take your will unless you hand it over. And you won't, because now you remember, this pain isn't punishment. This struggle isn't shame. This battle is sacred. It's where the world finds out who you are. It's where you find out who you are. You're not defined by your breakdowns. You're defined by what you build from them. You're not remembered for your lowest point. You're remembered for how you rose. And no one can rise like someone who has tasted rock bottom and decided to climb anyway. So climb. Even if your legs shake, even if your hands are bloody, even if your breath is shallow, climb. Because there is no version of you waiting at the top that isn't worth this pain. There is no summit without the mountain. And the summit, oh, the summit will be worth it. Not because it's high, not because of who's watching, but because of who you became on the way up. That's the reward. That's the prize. That's the power that can never be taken. So when it gets heavy, remember this. You are not weak. You are just shedding what no longer fits. And when it gets quiet, remember this. You are not forgotten. You are being refined. And when it gets lonely, remember this. You are not alone. Every scar has a twin. Every tear has a chorus. Every scream into the void has been echoed by another warrior, fighting their own invisible war. We may not see each other, but we are many, and we are rising together, and we are rising together, because the moment you chose not to quit, you joined a legacy, not of perfection, but of persistence, not of fame, but of fire, not of those who were celebrated, but those who kept going, when there was nothing left but dust and desire. You are one of them. Now, the quiet rebels, the unshakable souls, the unseen warriors, who changed their lives, not with applause, but with obedience to the whisper inside. Don't stop. This world doesn't need more noise. It needs more people like you. People who don't run from the mirror. People who don't edit their scars. People who walk into the storm and say, if this is where I meet myself, then so be it. Because true power isn't loud. It's steady. It's disciplined. It's the man who shows up to work on his dream, even after the world says no. It's the woman who lifts herself out of grief and still loves anyway. It's the child who grows up in chaos and says, this ends with me. You want to know what strength is? It's waking up again, with the same doubt, the same bills, the same fear, and choosing to rise anyway. It's holding your vision like a flame in the wind, and shielding it with everything you've got, even when your hands are burned. It's knowing that some days will break you, but none of them will bury you. You've come too far to quit now, too far from the place you started, too far from the version of you who once thought they'd never make it past the first failure. You've buried too much to turn back. You've bled too much to call it a hobby. You've prayed too hard to walk away now. So don't silence your dream to make others comfortable. Don't shrink because the room can't handle your light. Don't play small because someone else quit and wants you to do the same. You are not here to be liked. You are here to be lit up, with purpose, with vision, with fire. So speak like your words matter. Walk like your steps shift destiny. Live like someone's watching, because they are. Someone's watching to see if this is where you quit. Someone's watching to see if this is where they can keep going. Be their proof. Be their reason. Because your fight is not in vain. Your rise is not invisible. And your scars, they are not ugly. They are maps. They are markers. They are reminders that you made it out of battles that tried to end you. So don't hide them. Wear them. Let them be your testimony. Let them be your banner. Because you are not just surviving. You are leading. You are lighting the path for others, still stuck in the dark. And that is what makes you unstoppable. So let this be the day you stop waiting. Stop asking for permission. Stop begging for understanding. Not everyone will get it. Not everyone needs to. This calling isn't a conference. It's a covenant between you and the highest version of yourself. So rise to meet it. Empty yourself into the fight. Let your life be loud with meaning, even if no one claps, especially if no one claps, because that's when you know it's real. And in your quietest hour, when your back is to the wall, and your breath is running short, remember this truth like a sword in your soul. You are not alone in this battle. You never were, not when you cried, not when you fell, not when you doubted, not even when you broke, because the moment you stood again, the universe leaned in. The moment you rose, the world shifted, and the moment you said, "I will not quit," you became a light for all of us, still trying to find the courage to say the same. So shine, stand, roar, and if all you have left is a whisper, let it be this: I'm still here. And that is enough, because from this moment forward, you are not just fighting the battle, you are becoming the reason someone else wins theirs.